This program contains graphic content and sexual situations. Viewer discretion is advised. It's 2009, and Tiger Woods is the most famous golfer in the world. He has multi-million-dollar endorsements, a beautiful bride, and a pristine image.
Tiger Woods was a global brand.
Everyone from Buick to Nike was on board the Tiger money train.
But in a bizarre incident on a Thanksgiving night, a drugged Tiger Woods crashes his SUV into a tree after his beautiful wife takes a golf club to the vehicle.
He was on top of the world, and it was right after that when everything hit the fan.
The media soon exposes the reason behind her rage. Woods has been having a sexual affair with an attractive nightclub hostess.
We started to realize what was really going on with Tiger Woods.
Immediately, images of the sexy brunette are splashed across the tabloids, along with the tawdry details of their secret hookups, raunchy text messages, and rumored hush money.
What I would imagine would be a sheer panic of, you gotta get rid of this information immediately, thanks.
But what the press doesn't know is that the mistress behind the crash is just the tip of the iceberg. Dozens of women, from porn stars to the girl next door, soon come out of the woodwork to expose the young sports icon, thus dismantling his legacy.
When the Tiger scandal broke, I was pretty shocked.
The saga is revealed in People magazine reporter Steve Helling's earth-shaking tell-all book about Tiger's downfall. Just who is the mysterious woman who triggered the biggest sex scandal in sports history?
I'm just a girl who fell in love a couple times and had some really tragic things happen.
Meet Rachel Uchitel.
You've been a bad boy, Mr. Woods.
Just an obscure Manhattan socialite, until scandal made her famous. It is one of the biggest sex scandals to ever rock the sports world.
There had never been such a scandal in the sports world, and the details, they were juicy.
This was arguably the greatest scandal, certainly in golf, perhaps even in all of sports, because he was such an untouchable icon.
The stunning and salacious details of Tiger Woods' affair with Rachel Uchitel ricocheted around the world, across social media, in newspapers, and on TV, as a colorful procession of 15 more mistresses came forward. For months, the scandal, as it's called, dominates and drives media coverage.
Everybody was making fun of Tiger Woods. Saturday Night Live, South Park, Funny or Die. The comedians were having a field day.
But it was no laughing matter for Tiger Woods. He lost sponsors, endorsements, his wife, and the respect of millions. And the world wanted to know who was the woman who ignited the powder keg and brought down golf's living legend. On the West Coast, in Cypress, California, Eldrick Woods, nicknamed Tiger, is making a splash as a golfing prodigy and media darling.
Tiger was a child prodigy, and everyone knew it. Famously, when he was just 2 years old, he ended up on the Mike Douglas show showing off his golf skills.
Tiger was just, such this exceptional prodigy. We're talking sort of, Amadeus levels of exceptional brilliance.
The son of an ex-Army officer, Earl Woods, and his wife, Cultida, Tiger becomes fascinated with golf as a toddler.
Tiger's swinging golf clubs when he can barely walk.
Tiger won the Junior World Golf Tournament when he was just 8 years old. And by the time he was 13, he got his first recruitment letter from Stanford University. By the time he was 14 years old, Tiger had won 5 Junior World Championship titles.
While Tiger picks up tournament titles, Rachel Uchitel grows up with her mother on Manhattan's West Side. Rachel is the daughter of divorced parents, Susan and Bob, television moguls from Anchorage, Alaska.
My mother was an actress. She was not only the producer of everything, but she was their on-air talent. And my father did all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and he was the businessman.
Although successful, Rachel's father reportedly battles cocaine and alcohol addictions.
I do remember her telling me that he was coming to visit, and I would go and I would sit and I would wait for hours and he would never show up. I never knew if that was her setting me up to not see him and get upset, or if it was him canceling on me.
Bob Uchitel rarely sees his daughter. They stay in touch by phone, but because of his addictions, even that is difficult.
My mother didn't seem to like when we spoke on the phone. I don't recall speaking to him very much, and when I did, it was always a quick conversation.
In one fateful exchange, Rachel tries reasoning with her father about his addictions.
So my father was saying things like, "What do you want? You know, I'm busy getting high. I don't want to talk to you right now." And I said, "Okay, so Dad, I can't talk to you if you choose to do drugs." And that enraged him, and he said, "F you, I never loved you. You're a pain in the ass, just like your mother. Don't ever call me back. I don't love you."
Less than 24 hours later, Rachel's father is found dead from a cocaine overdose.
So that was the last time I had spoken to him.
When Rachel was 12 years old, her mother took her across the country to a tough boarding school in California for at-risk kids.
I remember my mother joining me to visit the school, and a couple of the girls were showing me around the dorms, and I come to find out she was leaving me, and I was like, "What are you doing? You didn't discuss this with me."
It's a pretty big shock for those kids, and I think for Rachel too.
I was sent there with a lot of kids who had more serious issues than I did. They were truant, were very promiscuous at a very young age. I was thinking, I don't do any of these things.
So I just took her into one of the rooms and sat down and told her what had happened, and it was tough. I mean, she had a really tough time with it.
Rachel graduates high school and attends the University of New Hampshire, pursuing a degree in psychology. Meanwhile, Tiger Woods is on the opposite coast, attending Stanford.
Tiger had an amazing collegiate golf career. He won several titles and cemented his spot as America's next great golfer.
But Tiger reportedly struggles with his father, Earl, who has a reputation as a womanizer.
I think that Tiger, at least as a young man, felt terrible about this because he knew how hurt his mother was by that.
In 1996, at the age of 20, Tiger turns pro.
By then, Tiger had won almost every amateur title that he could win. So when he went pro, he signed multi-million-dollar endorsement deals with Nike and Titleist.
Tiger doesn't disappoint the sponsors either. The next year, at age 21, he not only becomes the youngest winner of the U.S. Masters, but is the first African-American to win the tournament. Tiger is breaking barriers.
He captured the imagination of the world. He transcended just golf.
With Tiger's celebrity comes adoring female fans.
Tiger's getting all this attention from beautiful women around the world, and that was attention he hadn't gotten when he was younger.
After Rachel Uchitel finishes college, she follows in her mother's footsteps and works as a television producer for the Bloomberg TV news channel in New York City. While at Bloomberg, Rachel meets Wall Street investor Andy O'Grady. Rachel and Andy date during the summer of 2001 and fall madly in love. That August, after only going out for a few months, Andy proposes.
I felt lucky that he picked me to share the rest of his life with.
After being engaged for only 1 month, Rachel's fairy tale comes to a tragic end. One day in September begins normally with Rachel preparing to leave for work.
I got up to go to work at 5 a.m. and he said, "Come here, give me a kiss." And I said, "No, I have my lipstick on, I'll kiss you later." And I left.
The date is September 11th, 2001.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Rachel, come here.
Rachel and her co-workers watch in stunned silence after a plane slams into the North Tower. Andy works on the 104th floor of the South Tower.
Honey, are you okay?
He was seeing papers flying everywhere out his window, and he was saying he was watching people jump.
Aren't you evacuating? No, well, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, me too. Call me soon, okay? I love you too.
A short time later, a second plane slams into his building, 30 floors below Andy's office.
Meanwhile, I'm still trying to call Andy, nothing. All the phones are dead on their floor. Next thing I know, I look up and it's his building that's the first one to fall. I mean, everyone on the floor watched me watch him die.
So she woke up that morning thinking, I'm gonna plan a wedding. And she went to bed that night thinking, I might potentially have to plan a funeral. And that does not leave somebody without scars.
Like so many who can't find their loved ones, Rachel keeps hoping that Andy somehow survived.
If you were in New York after 9/11, you recognized Rachel. She was this iconic figure of this beautiful young woman who was searching desperately for her fiancé at Ground Zero. She was on the cover of all the newspapers, and it wouldn't be the last time.
It was my most vulnerable moment, really caught by all these people. And then the next day it was, New York's tragic face, and it was the cover of every newspaper from New York to Australia to everywhere. I couldn't function. Half the time I was sitting in his closet, just sitting in the back of his closet.
For Rachel, the next year is a blur as grief takes a tight hold.
My future died when Andy died. For me, that's the day that my life changed and I became a completely different person.
Rachel Uchitel attempts to rebuild her life by moving to Las Vegas. Around that same time, golf's most eligible bachelor, Tiger Woods, begins a serious relationship with Swedish beauty and part-time model, Elin Nordegren.
Tiger quietly dated Elin for 3 years, and that's just how she wanted it. She had this quiet life. She was born outside of Stockholm. Her father was a journalist. Her mother was known in politics, and she'd lived a very traditional life up to that point.
Elin attends a prestigious university and has a summer job working as a nanny for a Swedish golf pro, Jesper Parnevik, when she meets Tiger.
It was hard not to be blown away by her. I mean, she's a very, very beautiful girl.
Elin is apparently well aware of the rumors about Tiger. She knows he has groupies and enjoys the attention of pretty girls. But Tiger is persistent, and Elin quickly falls for him.
Tiger and Elin came from different worlds, but they had a lot in common. They both had this dry sense of humor that made the other person laugh. And just like Tiger, Elin valued privacy.
That was a huge attraction to him too, because again, privacy was very, very key to Tiger.
On October 5th, 2004, Tiger and Elin marry in a lavish and very private ceremony in Barbados.
Tiger wanted his wedding to be very private, and he spared no expense to make sure that that happened.
Everything was controlled and orchestrated. The photographs were released, they were vetted. There's no paparazzi hanging out of trees, taking pictures.
He rented every room at the resort. And then the wedding was done in a tent. He made sure that nobody who wasn't invited to that wedding would see a thing.
Tiger rents every helicopter on the island and orders them grounded for the day, so the paparazzi can't rent them to take photos. He and his bride honeymoon off the coast of Barbados in his $22 million yacht.
In fact, when he bought his yacht, what did he call it? He called it privacy.
Now, when it comes to Rachel Uchitel, she quickly learned the importance of privacy with her jobs hosting VIP guests.
Rachel works at Tao Las Vegas and at The Bank at the Bellagio. Both are upscale nightclubs that cater to the rich and famous.
I became sort of the queen of Las Vegas. I decided who sat where, I decided where they spent the money, I decided how much money they spent, I decided what kind of service they got, and I placed the customers in a certain way to make sure that they played off of each other and spent more money.
Rachel built relationships with high rollers all around the world, but she also developed a reputation for allegedly dating some of the married celebrities that she catered to.
Meanwhile, Tiger Woods is fully cemented as a full-fledged high roller.
Tiger was a living, breathing, golfing legend. Tiger had racked up 71 wins on the PGA Tour, including 14 major wins. He also won the Player of the Year 9 times, and he was only 33.
There was just an aura about him, and it was an aura of invincibility. He knew he was going to win, you knew he was going to win, and he knew that you knew he was going to win.
Along with the impressive wins comes even more lucrative endorsement deals, totaling hundreds of millions of dollars.
I did a story on the prospect of Tiger becoming the first athlete to be a billionaire. And even then, Forbes was projecting that he was going to surpass that billionaire mark.
What you're looking at is an incredibly marketable, almost a commodity, handsome young man, champion that he was, a great player. Tiger Woods was a global brand.
Tiger Woods also has a squeaky clean image as a husband and father. By 2009, he and Elin have a 2-year-old daughter, and that February, they welcome a baby boy.
But even though he had this family man persona, Elin still had to put up with the rumors that maybe he was cheating on her behind her back.
Even though they'd heard whispers or rumors, they just thought to themselves, he's so focused to be doing this. He's just too smart.
After 2 years in Vegas, Rachel Uchitel moves back to New York and oversees VIP operations for lavish clubs in Manhattan. In June 2009, Rachel gets a call that Tiger Woods and his crew are coming in. That night, Tiger arrives at the Griffin, the New York City hotspot where Rachel Uchitel now works. In the world of sports, with his megawatt smile, talent, and money, no one is more A-list than Tiger. Rachel makes sure this VIP will get the deluxe treatment.
Excuse me, Mr. Woods. How is everything so far? Did you get everything you requested?
Yes, everything is fine. You guys okay? You fine?
Fantastic.
Hey, why don't you join us? Come on, it's just one drink. I won't tell.
Sure, but just one.
So Rachel apparently kept this little black book where she kept the names of all these rich and powerful people. And at the end of the night, she and Tiger allegedly exchanged contact information.
This marks the beginning of Rachel and Tiger's alleged secret affair. It's reported that over the course of just a few months, Rachel and Tiger also have secret hookups in New York and Las Vegas.
You've been a bad boy, Mr. Woods.
According to her friends, Rachel fell head over heels in love with Tiger. It was almost like an addiction.
Love addiction is not a diagnosis. It's just sort of a constellation of symptoms. It's somebody who's becomes addicted to the intensity of intimate romantic relationships. We always have to tell them, think butterflies, not lightning bolts, because they love the high of the high intensity, high stakes relationships.
When Tiger travels, he reportedly stays in touch through phone calls, sexting, and emails, where he professes a true connection and wishes he and Rachel had found each other earlier.
I know it's brutal on you that you can't be with me all the time. I get it. I finally found someone I connect with, someone I have never found like this, not even at home. You want someone to witness your life. I want you to lay next to me, lay on me, or wherever you want to lay. Why didn't we find each other years ago? We wouldn't be having this conversation.
It really seems like Rachel not only got swept up in this whole physical relationship, but in an emotional connection with Tiger's emails as well.
Although the stakes are high for Tiger, he is allegedly unfaithful to both his wife and his mistress.
Tiger was also carrying on with Jamie Grubbs. They had met 2 years earlier around her 21st birthday in Vegas.
Well, hey.
I'm Tiger.
I know who you are. Doesn't everyone?
Do you want to talk?
Jamie says that they hung out all night and that there was a connection there.
But much like Rachel, Jamie says she gets emotionally involved and falls for him through texts and phone calls. Soon, Tiger starts arranging secret getaways.
When Tiger would stay in hotels, he would sometimes use the reservation Mr. and Mrs. Brian Bell. And Brian Bell was an old friend of Tiger's from high school who sometimes worked for him.
During their hookups, Tiger sweeps Jamie off her feet. Jamie says he's a charmer and his sexual appetite is insatiable.
That was all so nice. Actually, come to think about it, it's kind of naughty.
Hey. Yeah. You may not like how this is gonna sound, but you should go.
Huh?
I just have a big day tomorrow. just have a lot going on. Just gotta get some sleep.
So Tiger wasn't being faithful to Rachel, but Rachel says that she too was stepping out on Tiger.
Rachel reportedly begins seeing married actor David Boreanaz from the hit series Bones.
The relationship between Rachel and David was becoming romantic, but that was complicated because his wife was allegedly pregnant at the time.
But Rachel and David sneak away when they can for passion-filled trysts.
What he told me was that they were separated and he lived in the carriage house in the back. His wife was pregnant, but it was sort of, they had worked it out and it was sort of the gift that he gave to her before they had separated and they were living happily separated. I mean, he was even calling me when she was in labor.
This isn't a good time.
I can't do this anymore. Just go. Just go and be with her.
Rachel Uchitel and David Boreanaz's affair comes to a head in late summer 2009.
But then she's linked with a succession of high-powered men.
I met Derek Jeter in one of our nightclubs in Las Vegas. Ryan Seacrest, who's just, you know, a friend that I had a little fun with.
Rachel is still seeing Tiger, but their relationship appears to be on thin ice.
I thought I was getting to know you, but it feels like I'm just another person who happens to be famous. I don't know what person I was falling so hard for. The one I got to know on the phone, email, text, and in person, or the one who just likes famous people.
Sounding both lovesick and suspicious over Rachel seeing other celebrities, Tiger questions Rachel's motives.
It seems like Tiger is conflicted by his feelings about Rachel. On one hand, he talks about how he's falling for her, and then literally the next line, he's lashing out.
On the other hand, Rachel wants more than Tiger can give, and the long-distance secret affair puts a strain on the relationship. But after just a short time apart, Tiger pleads with Rachel to join him in Australia, where he's playing in the Australian Open.
I need you here. Just pack and get organized. Sorry if I hurt you.
You're someone who doesn't want or need me. I have some pride too, you know. You broke my heart.
Get yourself together and get on the flight. We can fight when you get here and have makeup sex.
Tiger's friend and trusted employee Byron Bell emails Rachel's flight information and arranges Tiger and Rachel's rendezvous during the Australian Masters, where Tiger will be competing.
Tiger wanted to be with Rachel, but he knew he had to be discreet, and he had this whole plan for her to come with him to the Australian Masters and then to accompany him to Dubai, where he was building a golf course. But they had to be careful.
On Thursday, November 12th, Rachel arrives in Melbourne and checks into an exclusive hotel where Tiger is staying. Tiger and his team make sure there is no record of her name in the registry.
Enjoy your stay. G'day, welcome to Crown Towers.
Thank you. Checking in, please.
There's no paper trail, but she's shown to this beautiful suite on the 35th floor, right near Tiger's.
There were only 2 penthouse suites at the Crown, and they're right at the top of the building, uber luxurious.
Rachel settles in her room while Tiger finishes up his round. He reportedly texts her to confirm their rendezvous for the evening.
The thing about Tiger is that he was able to compartmentalize his life. You know, he had the golf box, he had the business box, he had the family and wife box, and then he had the adultery box.
Rachel and Tiger's suites are the only 2 rooms on the penthouse level, so Rachel is able to slip into Tiger's room unnoticed.
Wait. I just came from that press conference. I'm still sweaty.
Okay.
I'm grimy. And I'm nasty, so... Let me take a shower, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't you worry.
Rachel had just flown halfway around the globe to be with one of the most famous married men in the world, so you can imagine the sexual anticipation. While Tiger and Rachel were hooking up in Australia, Tiger's wife Elin and the 2 kids were back home in Florida. And his mom was there at the Masters with him and just staying in another room.
He became incredibly brazen and took all kinds of risks.
But as the tournament progresses, any hope that they can keep their purported trysts a secret begins to evaporate. A popular tabloid gets wind of their affair. When Rachel had arrived at the hotel, a tabloid photographer had snapped a picture of her checking in.
A reporter from the National Enquirer followed her off the plane and got into the elevator. And the only way you could get into that penthouse suite is if you had a key. Once she put that key into the elevator, the reporter said, "I know where you're going. You're here to see Tiger Woods. I'm from the National Enquirer."
She was flustered, but she denied it. And can you imagine the panic in Tiger Woods when she told him that his secret life was about to be exposed?
Tiger is allegedly worried about Rachel's encounter with the tabloid reporter and decides to cut their trip short. Rachel returns home to New York, and Tiger heads back to Florida.
When he got back to the United States, that's when they started formulating a plan to tackle what they anticipated was coming, which was a big National Enquirer story.
In a preemptive strike, Tiger breaks the news to his wife, Elin, about the soon-to-be released story.
Hey, honey.
Hey, babe.
Look, I know this is bad timing, but I just got a tip. There's a story coming out in the tabloids about me. It's not true, okay? There's nothing to it.
What
okay?
story? What are you talking about?
It's just a story about me seeing some woman named Rachel Uchitel.
Are you serious?
Listen. I know Rachel. Seen her a few times at a couple of social events, but that's it. There's nothing to this. All right, look, honey, I will call Rachel myself. Okay, you can talk to her yourself. Listen, Elin, I'm trying to prove this.
How can you do
Elin, listen to Elin.
Tiger had Elin talk to Rachel Uchitel, who then said, "I just organized parties for Tiger and other people. This is just all nonsense. It's not true. Please don't believe it." And this was the day or so before the story came out.
Reportedly speaking with Rachel on the phone for a half hour, Elin appears satisfied that Rachel and her husband are just friends. In another preemptive strike, Tiger leaves a voicemail for one of his other mistresses, Jamie Grubbs.
I need you to do me a huge favor. Can you please take your name off your phone? My wife went through my phone and may be calling you, so can you just have it to where, what do you call it, your number is on the voicemail? You have to do this for me, okay? Huge. Quickly. Bye.
For the next few days, Elin doesn't say anything publicly, even as this horrible story about her husband's philandering comes out in the Enquirer.
According to the newspaper, Tiger took up with Rachel just 4 months after Elin gave birth to their son. The paper also details how Rachel had an affair with actor David Boreanaz while David's wife was pregnant with their child.
It totally destroyed this clean family man persona that Tiger had spent 13 years building, and it didn't do any favors to Rachel Uchitel either. So Elin wanted to know, who is this woman?
Thanksgiving night is a late one for Tiger. After playing poker with friends, he heads off to bed around midnight. To help him rest, he takes the sleeping pill Ambien. Tiger makes the life-changing mistake of leaving his phone unattended.
Everyone knew that Tiger Woods didn't sleep well. And he even told me before that he'd get 3-4 hours of sleep per night. He was an insomniac. So it's not surprising at all that he'd take some Ambien to help himself get some rest.
Elin sees Tiger's phone and decides to investigate. As she searches for Rachel's number, she finds a text from Tiger to Rachel. It says, "You are the only one I've loved."
That was a devastating text, because all of Tiger's claims that he and Rachel were just friends, this proved that that was a lie.
Tiger is in a deep sleep, oblivious to the storm that's about to tear his world apart. When Elin's fears are confirmed that Tiger and Rachel are more than friends, she texts Rachel pretending to be Tiger. Rachel immediately replies. By Rachel's response, Elin realizes that the two had just spoken before Tiger fell asleep, so she calls Rachel.
Well, so you are awake.
Damn it.
Elin saw red. She was furious, and she was gonna wake up Tiger, and she was gonna confront him.
How could you? Tiger!
Tiger had taken an Ambien and was passed out on the couch. He was dead to the world when Elin came bursting into the room.
Tiger? Tiger! You son of a bitch!
Tiger's mother had been asleep upstairs and is awakened by the chaos. When
Tiger woke up, it was clear to him he was busted. Elin knew everything. He tried to calm her down, but it didn't work, so he ran from the room just to escape her wrath.
Just before 2:30 a.m. on November 27th, a groggy and barefoot Tiger Woods runs out of his home and gets into his Cadillac Escalade. He fires up the engine as Elin runs out, golf club still in hand. Tiger pulls away.
He didn't get very far. Within 50 yards of his house, his car jumped a curb and plowed right into a tree.
A neighbor is startled awake by the crash and commotion right outside the front door. Tiger manages to get out of the car and collapses. Tiger's neighbors Jarius Adams and Kimberly Harris rush outside to find a frantic Elin and a passed out Tiger.
Help me! Call 911.
Get a pillow and a blanket. Tiger's out cold.
Tiger was drifting in and out of consciousness. He wasn't making a lot of sense in what he was saying, and he had a split lip which was bleeding everywhere. So Elin was freaking out because she didn't know the extent of his injuries.
Jarius calls 911, never mentioning Tiger by name.
I need an ambulance immediately. I have someone down in front of my house. They hit a pole.
While Jarius talks to the 911 operator, Tiger's mother, Kultida, joins Elin. She can be heard on the 911 call, yelling in the background.
What happened?
We don't know what happened. We're figuring it all out right now. We're on the phone to police right now. Okay.
Tiger remains unconscious for 10 minutes before help arrives. Police are first to arrive. They find the world-renowned golfer on the ground next to his smashed vehicle.
Paramedics are on the way.
As they check his vitals, he briefly regains consciousness before closing his eyes again.
Wake up! Tiger! Please wake up!
I think he's gonna be okay. He's gonna be fine.
Tiger is rushed to the hospital while police begin their investigation. There are a lot of unanswered questions.
Police have very few details for reporters. Everyone wants to talk to Tiger, but he has skipped town.
Tiger Woods was in fact not in Orlando. He had been flown Friday morning after Thanksgiving to Phoenix to treat a broken tooth and a fat lip, which he didn't want anyone to see.
In less than 24 hours, the car accident and Tiger's injuries become national headlines. Sometime after the incident, Rachel Uchitel gets the news.
Tiger Woods was in a minor car accident outside his home last night.
He hit a tree. He was semi-conscious or unconscious for a number of minutes. His wife used a golf club to bash in the back window to rescue him.
The voracious public and media are now desperate to uncover further details.
There was just far too much secrecy. It was being handled like it was some sort of a PR operation, and I started to wonder, we're not getting a lot of information out, we're not getting phone calls.
It was a massive story that only continued to snowball.
Bits of information were emerging by the hour, and we kind of knew that this had something to do with his relationship with Rachel Uchitel. But we didn't know if his injuries were caused by himself or whether they were caused by his wife, Elin.
There was an altercation of some kind whether it was whether she was carrying a golf club or threw a phone at him, or there's various versions of the story, but certainly what emerged was that Tiger Woods had a chipped tooth and a fat lip after that incident.
The story captures the curiosity of an entire nation, but Tiger Woods shuns the media.
Tiger's idea of damage control was to ask for privacy, and all that did was make everybody in the media want to dig and dig and dig.
Responding to the report of her alleged affair with Tiger, Rachel vigorously denies any involvement with the golf superstar.
And the headline came out, I can't remember exactly what the headline said, but one of my coworkers read it out loud, and then somebody stood up and they were like, "Look at the woman who's attached to this." And I pulled it up and I go, I literally looked at it and I read, I go, holy
Uchitel, for her part, was telling people that this is just the work of two girls who have a vendetta against me, and they made it all up.
When it was reported that Tiger had told a friend that Elin had gone ghetto on him, that's when the speculation really started.
As the scandal continues to unfold, Tiger tries to calm the waters with a statement he posts to his website. In it, he apologizes for the embarrassment his accident has caused his family. He asks for privacy.
Tiger had been in the public eye for 13 years and had never had a scandal. Yeah, there were times where he might have thrown a tantrum or said a bad word on the golf course, but nothing to this extent.
3 days after the accident, Tiger still hasn't spoken to police. When pressed by reporters, police release dozens of photos of Tiger's wrecked car, and they are promptly splashed all over the media.
Then a bombshell rocks Tiger's camp in the form of Jamie Grubbs.
After reportedly being paid thousands by a tabloid magazine, Jamie divulges every personal detail about her 2.5-year affair with Tiger, which she says was still going on at the time of the accident. She claims she has texts and voicemails to prove it.
I need you to do me a huge favor. Can you please take your name off your phone? My wife went through my phone and maybe calling you.
Once that voicemail from Jamie Grubb came out, there was no doubt in my mind that this wasn't fabricated. That wasn't anybody pretending to be Tiger Woods.
You gotta do this for me. Huge. Quickly. All right, bye.
That was Tiger Woods. That's how he speaks. That was his cadence.
Along with the voicemail, Jamie has more than 300 texts that she claims are from Tiger. Some are overtly sexual, others more romantic. The most recent text from Tiger had been sent Thanksgiving morning, hours before the accident. On Tuesday, December 1st, police are finally able to interview Tiger. They determine his lip injury was from hitting the steering wheel. He's cited for reckless driving and fined $164. But as far as the media is concerned, the case is far from closed.
This was becoming a juicy scandal.
When the Tiger scandal broke, I was pretty shocked.
By this stage, Rachel Uchitel started seeing the writing on the wall. There was no saving Tiger Woods. There wasn't going to be some just clever PR way to get out of this. It was now just a festering sore, and it was spreading.
As the scandal spreads, Rachel drops her denials and hires celebrity lawyer Gloria Allred. They schedule a conference for December 3rd to reveal all the sordid details about Rachel's sexual affair with Tiger. But at the 11th hour, the conference is suddenly canceled.
That could only mean one thing, that there was an incentive for Rachel not to talk. And word had it that Tiger and his team paid her $10 million to buy her silence.
Despite word of a settlement, things only get worse for Tiger. His wife, Elin, kicks him out of the house, and his friend, golfer Jesper Parnevik, publicly apologizes for introducing Elin to Tiger.
And then came the parade of mistresses.
The salaciousness that accompanied those names that came up was all the more titillating for a tabloid like the New York Daily News or any other tabloids across the country.
Almost every day, more women come forward. Waitresses, models, porn stars, club managers, each with salacious stories to tell.
He was on top of the world, and it was right after that when everything hit the fan.
The scope of Tiger's troubles expand when he starts getting dumped by sponsors.
They couldn't get away fast enough. He had become a train wreck, and they didn't want anything to do with it.
With his public image in tatters and his marriage hanging on by a thread, Tiger checks himself into a rehab center in Mississippi for 6 weeks.
He entered a sex addiction recovery program that treated sexually compulsive people.
I think he was willing to do whatever he had to do to keep his wife, keep his marriage together.
One of the components of the program is apology. On February 19th, 2010, Tiger Woods steps before the cameras for the first time since the scandal broke and issues a public apology.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in. I was unfaithful. I had affairs. I cheated.
We hadn't seen such a huge media spectacle since O.J. Simpson's infamous Bronco chase. More than 20 TV networks carried this live and millions of people tuned in.
Although she and Tiger no longer live together, Elin stands by her man. That is until April, when a 15th woman is linked to Tiger. She is 21-year-old Rachel Uchitel, the daughter of a neighbor. After the revelation, Elin files for divorce, which is finalized in June 2010. She reportedly gets a $100 million settlement after signing a confidentiality agreement.
By the end of 2010, Rachel Uchitel is cast in the 4th season of Dr. Drew's Celebrity Rehab.
She was complaining about issues related to codependency, love addiction, attaching yourself to a bigger-than-life object, and having a real intense relationship. You get high from that, and that's love addiction.
My vision of love is I love somebody, they die of a cocaine overdose. I love somebody tremendously, they're killed by terrorists. You know, I get involved in love and then it's splashed on the cover of, you know, a magazine, or it's, you know, an international scandal.
Although she never specifically mentions Tiger during the series, just being on the show is enough for Tiger's lawyers to pounce.
Tiger's lawyers said, that's it, you broke the confidentiality agreement.
Rachel was reportedly forced to give back most of the $10 million settlement that she'd received.
Rachel does find love once more in 2011 when she marries former Penn State fullback Matt Hahn. They have a baby daughter the next year, but the marriage is volatile, and the two divorce. In 2014, Rachel reinvents herself once again when she opens a children's boutique in New York, Wyatt Lily, named after her daughter.
We were like, let's open a retail store for kids. Within 6 months, we had won, you know, best baby gifts from New York Magazine and best children's store in New York.
For now, any serious relationship takes a back seat to motherhood and work.
Wyatt is a very precocious little girl. We have so much fun together. She really completes my life.
She seems to be doing great. I mean, she deserves a good life. She really does. She's a tremendous person.
The best thing for me is when I open the door and she hears the door open and I hear her scream in the other room, "Mommy's home." It's the cutest.
As for Tiger Woods, after his divorce, he goes on to date champion skier Lindsey Vonn for 3 years. But the two split in 2015 after she allegedly discovers that Tiger has been unfaithful.
Since the divorce, Elin has returned to school. She's been seen on the arms of wealthy men, and she's reportedly really enjoying the life of a single mom.
Tiger Woods' career as a golfer has yet to return to the superstar status he enjoyed before the sex scandal.
There's no question he's not the same player, because mentally, psychologically, he's not the same. I think it's just unlikely that Tiger Woods will ever be Tiger again.
To date, the number of alleged mistresses Tiger had while married is over 10. While his list of alleged one-night stands reaches over 100.
This scandal is always going to follow both Tiger and Rachel, and it really shouldn't have been that much of a scandal. But they had spent so many years meticulously building this persona for Tiger that wasn't real. Then we realized that Tiger wasn't a god. He was a person, he was a human, and a flawed one at that.